My name is Gareth Haysom and I'm from the African Centre for Cities at the University of Cape Town. I work on a project called Governing Food Systems to Alleviate Poverty in Secondary Cities in Africa, which is quite a mouthful. So we've referred to it as Consuming Urban Poverty, or CUP. This project used food as a lens to try and understand the issues of urbanization in African cities, and particularly in secondary cities, the cities that are growing rapidly with very limited governance capacity and where food has never been something that they've looked at. But our project wasn't actually about food. It was using food as a way to understand questions of infrastructure, questions of mobility, and questions of multidimensional poverty. And the project is now complete. We worked in 3 cities in Africa. One was in Kisumu in western Kenya on Lake Victoria. The other was in Kitwe in the copper belt of Zambia. And the third was a satellite town outside Harare called Epworth, which is governed separate to the city of Epworth, so it was termed a city. One, Epworth, was more a dormitory town. Kitwe was a city that relied on its resource base, which is copper, and had a single real economy, being the copper industry and mining. And then Kisumu was on a transport hub, but also fed off the lake and things like that, and that was what drove the city. But in trying to understand poverty in these cities and trying to generate information, using food to try and do surveys around household poverty, household food insecurity, we found significantly high levels of food insecurity, but also how that food insecurity is driven largely by problems of access to, not to growing food, but access to markets, how the markets functioned, but also how infrastructure and other aspects determined how the food system functioned. So if you have no refrigerator, you'll go and buy food in the street and you'll buy it on a daily basis. However, most of these cities try to then clear informal traders and things like that. So it was hard to bring about an understanding of how food fitted into that city. So we produced, from the data, we produced the academic book, we produced a number of journal articles, policy briefs. But in terms of impact, we believe those all had impact. But what seems to be having the most traction is a coffee table book called Tomatoes and Taxi Ranks, which we produced, which has got lots of very glossy photographs and things like that. And accompanying this book is a website where people can go and download this book, as well as the academic books and the policy brief. So if one goes to tomatoesandtaxiranks.org.za, so not .uk, but .za, and you'll find all the project work coming out and being published in there. And this has already been downloaded a number of times. The academic book has been downloaded more than this, but this is catching up very quickly. And so it's about trying to find different ways to communicate this message to different audiences, using different media, presenting the same work that we've been producing, and it's having a great impact at this time.